Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Shri Ram Sankirtan ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dhiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 7, Sloka number 11. So this chapter concerning activities of King Bharata. The shloka goes like this: Tasmin Vava Kilasa Ekalah Pulahashramo Pavane Viveda Kusuma Kisalaya Tulasi Kham Buddhi Kanda Mula Alopaharescha Samihamano Bhagavata Aradhanam Vivikta Uparata Vishaya Bilasha Upabhrutopashamaha Param Nivrittim Avapa. Word to word meaning: Tasmin, in that ashram, Vava indeed, Saha, Bharat Maharaj, Ekalaha, alone only, Pulaha Ashrama Upavane, in the gardens situated in Pulaha Ashrama, Vivida Kusuma, Kisalaya Tulasikha Ambubihi. The varieties of flowers, twigs and tulsi leaves, as well as with water. Kanda Mula Phala Upaharehi. By offerings of root, bulbs and fruits. Cha and Samihamanaha, performing Bhagavataha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Aradhanam, worshipping, Viviktaha, purified, Uparatha, being freed from, Vishaya Abhilashaha, desire for material sense enjoyment, Upabhrata, increased, Upashamaha, tranquility, Param, transcendental, Nivrittim, satisfaction, Avapa, he obtained. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. In the gardens of Pulahashrama, Maharaj Bharata lived alone and collected a varieties of flowers, twigs, and tulsi leaves. He also collected the water from Gandaki river, um, as well as various roots, fruits, and bulbs. With these, he offered food to Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudev, and worshipping him, he remained satisfied. In this way, his heart was completely uncontaminated, and he did not have the least desire for material enjoyment. All material desires vanished. In this steady position, he felt full satisfaction and was situated in devotional service. Purport: everyone is searching after peace of mind. This is obtainable only when one is completely freed from the desire for material sense gratification and is engaged in devotional service of the Lord. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam, Phalam Toyam, Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Worship of the Lord is not at all expensive. One can offer the Lord a leaf, a flower, a little fruit, and some water. The Supreme Lord accepts these offerings when they are offered with love and devotion. In this way, one can become freed from material desires. As long as one maintains material desires, he cannot be happy. As soon as one engages in the devotional service of the Lord, his mind is purified of all material desires. Then one becomes fully satisfied. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaitikya pratihata yayatma suprasidati vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yoga prayojita janayatyasha vairagyam jnanam cha yadahaitutam. The supreme occupation dharma for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service to unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the self. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires costless knowledge and detachment from the world. These are the instructions given in Srimad Bhagavatam, the supreme Vedic literature. One may not be able to go to Pulaha Ashrama, but wherever one can happily render devotional service to the Lord by adopting the process mentioned above. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. In this specifically, when Mridhari is like advised to go to the this one, no? So he sets up a cottage and tulsi leaves and he worships. So that portion I want. So here we see that Bharat Maharaj is he renounced after renouncing his kingdom. He has gone to the Pulaha Ashrama and on the banks of Gandaki River, and he is collecting all the varieties of flowers, twigs, and tulsi leaves, and then water from Gandaki River, and then roots, fruits, and bulbs. All these things he is picking up and he is offering to the Supreme Lord, and in this way he remains satisfied. So this is a very powerful this one. So Prabhupada also starts the purport by saying everyone is searching after peace of mind, and this is obtainable only when one is completely freed from the desires for material sense gratification and is engaged in devotional service of the Lord, right? And then he quotes this Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. So exactly, here, Bharat Maharaj is doing this very same activity of Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, and no, he is offering them to the Supreme Lord, and in this way he is completely satisfied and completely peaceful. So we see that the definition of devotional service is Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So one should engage one's senses in the service of the Lord, in like utilizing the senses in the service of the Lord. So this is the key definition of devotional service. And another aspect of devotional service is that devotional service is transcendental to material plane. So no material conditions can actually stop the practice of devotional service. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see that like the first example that comes is the women can practice devotional service and they can be very exalted, and an animal can practice, then a small boy can practice when there is no proper environment. Here, like what is it? Bharat Maharaj has chosen a very nice environment and he is practicing. But for Prahlad Maharaj, it's very, very hostile environment. So if you chant, you will be beaten up. No. So if that is there, like most of us would have left chanting. So first is like first we should get freedom from the unfavorable situation, and when favorable situation comes, then we can practice, right? So many times devotees also give up devotional service because of this, that situation is not favorable. Either their economic condition is not favorable or family situation is not favorable and things like that. So, but then devotional service is beyond all these things. So it can be practiced at any place. So, but still, given a choice, why a devotee actually chooses a place like Pulahashrama or some place like that. So, what is the reason? He was not there in association only. So he was not there in association. He was alone. That's his problem. Mode of goodness. Free from sense objects, away from sense objects. Or sense objects is always there, no? Like Jiva Fele Vishaya Sahare. So like living entity is thrown into an ocean of sense objects. And inside the ocean of sense objects, where you will not find sense objects. So one of the answer, yeah, mode of goodness is a little closer. Why mode of goodness?
Because when we are in passion and ignorance, the mind will be always, when the mind will always get disturbed. And then,
why disturbed? When we are in passion and ignorance, mind will always be disturbed. Why disturbed?
Lots of desires, material desires.
Okay. So here it is written in the second line, it is obtainable only when one is completely freed from desires for material sense gratification and is engaged in devotional service of the Lord. So peace of mind is obtained only when one is freed from desire for material sense gratification. And passion, by nature, it inspires the desire for material sense gratification. Mode of goodness is also a material mode, but then it gives some level of detachment. It gives some level of knowledge and some level of detachment. And it is definitely not a prerequisite for practicing Krishna consciousness, because like Krishna consciousness is ahaituki, or it's ahaituki, right? Costless. So ahaituki. So Krishna consciousness doesn't have a cause. So it is not born out of mode of goodness. It is born out of devotional service, is born out of devotional service, and it doesn't bhakti comes from bhakti. So, but still, this environment is an environment where it doesn't trigger, or it doesn't like too much inspires a living entity to do sense gratification. But still, why that is a qualification? Why that is, or why that is a favorable environment? Devotional service is anyway transcendental, so it can be practiced anywhere. So why still that is this one need that is there? So does it affect the devotional service anywhere? Like, does it hit the devotional service anywhere? The basic practice of devotional service. What is the definition of devotional service? Just before we discussed, Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam, right? So Bhakti Ruchyate. So that does this passion and ignorance in some way hit this aspect? Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam.
Actually, mode of goodness acts as a catalyst.
Catalyst, okay, but the mode of passion, why it is a problem?
Will not be serving Rishikesha, serving ourselves.
So the senses. somehow or other it should get engaged in the service of the Lord. So then there is some sort of purification, some sort of development, and all those things happens. But if the senses are inspired to be engaged in the sense objects, so then the opportunity for devotional service is lost. So there is a danger. In the mode of passion, there is like the counterproductive. It is like the senses can be inspired to be engaged in the what is it in sense gratification. But if in the environment of mode of passion, if somehow somebody decides that he should be engaged in the service of the Lord, then he will not be touched by those modes of passion, right? But the problem is, before he gets engaged in the service of the Lord, no mode of passion engages him. So before he gets engaged in devotional service of the Lord, which actually immunes him of the what is that of the modes of nature. So he is successfully being engaged by the modes of nature. So that is the problem. So it is all the more important for us. Like, we don't have a environment like Pulahashrama. So we have, the moment we step out, like we see completely some different picture only. whether you want or not, you will have to be contaminated. Being in this auspicious, कौन कॉल कर रहा है?
Krishna.
Okay. Whose mobile is this? Okay. So there is a way to put off the SIM, actually. Whenever we do live, so we should put off the SIM. No. ठीक है. So devotees have a lot of desire to preach. So it's nice that lot of desire to give directions. So now we see that so this good environment is good. Like, the environment and mode of goodness is actually desirable, and it's very good because it doesn't inspire a living entity to do sense gratification. And so when the pull is not there, towards the sense objects, so then it becomes a little more easier to engage the senses in the service of the Lord. So now such a situation is not there. We are living amidst the city environment, and then we are practicing Krishna consciousness in such a busy area, and where materialism is like completely rampant. And we see that everywhere there is demand for house, everywhere there is like demand for all the products and things like that. So even I see that some people, like from 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers, the Stela Walas, who you are seeing there. So some of them are like coming from so far, and then they set up shop here and sell the goods at very good price, and they make profits. So it's like so much demand for all the products and things like that is there. So it is height of like materialism, like a good amount of materialism is actually happening. And with all these things, like we see that all the bad habits and things like that are also quite rampant. So we don't need to do very much of endeavor. Like Ajamila had to do a lot of endeavor to go to the forest to see some scene. So for us, like, we don't need to take so much of endeavor. So we just go out, like dimag kharab karne wala cheez bahut hai, actually. So now, how should we actually keep ourselves immune to all these things? So it is by the tight association. So when there is mode of goodness, this is all desirable environment. So if that is not there, so then the most like powerful aspect is wherever devotees are practicing intense devotional service. So that is a very good association. That's a very, very good association, which inspires us to render devotional service, right? So somehow or other, we should be there in a place where it inspires us to do devotional service. That's the key aspect. So if that is lost, the inspiration to do devotional service, the inspiration to engage the senses in service of the Lord, if that is lost, then we have lost the whole game, actually. And so this is the effect of the association of the devotees. So this has to be like, it is more powerful. It is more powerful than any modes and things like that. Even if we are situated in mode of goodness, still we have to practice devotional service. If that mode of goodness is not there, no, still we have to practice devotional service. No, कुछ ना कुछ करके devotional service practice करना चाहिए, because that is the life, that is the central point of our practice of Krishna consciousness. And here the another point is, everyone is searching after peace of mind. So this is also one thing, like I was discussing with few devotees last in 2-3 different interactions. So people actually go to different yoga centers and things like that for peace of mind. And sometimes, like when mind is too what is that so much of storm is going on in the mind, and so much of disturbance is there in the mind and things like that. So generally, if you go to a yoga practitioner, they will tell, no, do Trataka meditation. You know Trataka meditation? Don't know, no need. So better we'll do our Harikshetra meditation. So basically, like, they try to put an object, just like a flame or something like that, and then they try to ask you that, do some eye exercises and things like that, and then they try to make you focus on the blue color flame, and then the red color flame, and then the core of this one and things like that and all. So no, it is, if you effectively see, withdrawing the mind from so many different areas, and they are trying to put your mind on one place. And that's what is actually helping. For some time, you have withdrawn your what is that, the thought process from various different elements, and you have put on one material element, and that gives you a lot of peace of mind. And imagine, like, if you withdraw all the things and then put it on one element, that is Krishna conscious element, and that is Krishna himself. And it is not just some simple fire which is just having 3-4 colors to concentrate upon. So whereas Krishna has so many wonderful leelas to concentrate upon, and so many wonderful things that are there. So basically, like, if devotees are not very careful in chanting and hearing the names of the Lord clearly, so then they may have to take shelter of various processes, various other processes. The whole process is that how to withdraw our senses from different places and apply it in one place. That is Krishna. So if we can do that, then it is very like Yayat Masu Prasidati. Prabhupada quotes this shloka here. So when we do this devotional service, when we are able to withdraw our senses from other places and put it on Krishna, so then definitely we will feel not just peace of mind, we will feel like suprasidati, like we will actually be very, very elated in this process. So, like, what is apprehension, like a sadhaka may have? So now, like, there is some other thought which is there, which is promising me of some happiness, right? So what if I withdraw my thought from there and then put all my thought here? So what if I lose that happiness, right? So what if I lose that plan, or what if I lose this particular, this one? So the things appear to be very big and very important and very promising, that it is, if I do this thing, like, something wonderful will happen in my life, right? So, but then chanting Hare Krishna, like, still bahut time hai, like, kar lenge, so whole life is there to perfect, right? So, and things like that. And also the faith that how can this chanting can give so much of happiness, how can Krishna give so much of happiness that I cannot get in some eating process, or making money process, or name and fame process, or accumulating the followers process and things like that. So, like, how can this holy name give more happiness than this? So the practical examples are also very important for us. That's why we should do Shravanam Kirtanam. We should study about great personalities who were whose life and soul was Krishna, and they were taking pleasure in this whole process of Shravanam Kirtanam. And also, like, we should also try to advance towards this direction. So lack of advancement for a considerable period of time, then we will feel that ki, like, this is like, किसको मिला बताओ, चैंटिंग में रुचि किसको मिला, किसी को नहीं मिला, सब करना चाहिए, like, अच्छा चीज है तो, बट हमारा मींस देयर शुड बी सम नरिशमेंट, लाइक नरिशमेंट के लिए कुछ और करना चाहिए, so then we will go behind making money, or making this one, what is it, looking for the same pleasure and nourishment in material achievements actually. So that's how like a devotee becomes cool down. So we should be fired up devotee by the way of trying to explore the process of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, like some other process, some other people will come and convince us, and then we will just maybe ritualistic in Krishna consciousness. Ritualistically, we may just follow, and then for our satisfaction and for our real nourishment of our modes, either modes or the soul, like we will go for some other processes. So that's why we should be very careful, and we should practice this Krishna consciousness properly so that we get peace of mind. The दिमाग तूफान नहीं होना चाहिए. No, like मतलब दिमाग में तूफान नहीं होना चाहिए. दिमाग तूफान कर सकता है, मतलब brainstorming कर सकते हैं, but दिमाग में तूफान नहीं होना चाहिए. Means whenever we see that the mind is so much disturbed, that means so much thoughts are like raging in the mind, that means we are not practicing devotional service properly, right? So something is going wrong, right? So mode of passion has taken charge of the mind, and at that point in time, whatever decisions we will take, it will not be very good, and whatever what is that, the goals that we set, it will not be very good. And at that time we need to apply this principle that savai mana Krishna padara vindayo, like we should somehow or other try to focus our attention on the lotus feet of the Lord, prayers to the Lord, and then like again back to the focus on the basics of Krishna consciousness and things like that. Somehow or other we have become like, it is just like if the mind is raging like that, it is just like if you get fever, if you've been to an infectious area and you just got fever. So like now temperature has increased and body mein kamjor ho raha hai and things like that and all. So what do? You understand like you've got fever. So immediately you take rest and then you start applying the medicine, right? So you take whatever is the path of medicine that you follow, like you just do that necessary precautions, necessary treatment that you actually do. And then when the body becomes normally situated, then you are free to move and things like that. So in the same way, like this is a sign that if the mind is too much disturbed, so many thoughts that are actually raging, so that means it's a clear sign that our practice somewhere has become slackened. Something has gone wrong in our practice. So we should try to see that. We should again apply ourselves to the process of Krishna consciousness strongly. And it is quite possible. It is quite possible because we are living in karanam guna sanghasya, and what is the probability that we will get guna sangha? There is all possibilities there. It's all ekdam possibilities there. We just don't need to do anything. We just simply have to step out, and without any purpose, we just have to gaze at the street. Dimag kharab ho jayega. So that's sufficient. Even after a good morning program, you just go out and you can spoil yourself, right? So that is why we should always have a mission in place. So we should have some purpose. Why am I going out? There is some purpose, right? So we should go out on a mission of the Lord. So then we will not be affected by the material nature. So somehow or other, Lord and Lord's mission should be prominent. So then we will not be affected. So then, patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhakta prayachati. So worship of the Lord is not at all expensive. One can offer the Lord a leaf, a flower, a little fruit, and some water. The Supreme Lord accepts these offerings when they are offered with love and devotion. In this way, one can become freed from material desires, right? So this is a very powerful process. So we should not doubt this process. It may appear to be very simple, just offering something, to the Lord, just offering obeisances to the Lord, just hearing His names, just cleansing the temple and things like that. So gar pe bhi jhadu pocha ho raha hai, like But then when we cleanse the temple of the Lord, or even if we consider the home as a temple of the Lord, and there is no other purpose other than Krishna consciousness, so then when we when we actually do the jadu, so then it cleanses the heart. So if we it's all about how we actually see the connection to the Supreme Lord. So that's the key aspect. So the life is meant for reviving our connection to the Supreme Lord, and we should evaluate how much I have revived my connection with the Supreme Lord. So that's the key aspect, right? So and the Supreme Lord accepts these offerings, and when they're offered with love and devotion, so one the material desires, one becomes freed from material desires. As long as one maintains material desires, he cannot be happy. No, this is a very solid thing. So either material desires for external happiness, so directly hankering for the sense objects, for the senses, or hankering for the things of the mind or things of the intelligence. So these are all things are material, and gross, what is it? No, gross sense gratification can give miseries. So the miseries and happiness of that gross sense gratification will be on a very shallow level, and miseries and happiness of the little more subtler platform will be little more deeper. No, so deeper happiness also we'll get, and deeper sadness also we'll get. You know, so like there are sometimes people, they get upset in the level of mind. No, they go to the level of committing suicide. No, and people who become very happy at the level of mind, so they are also like quite difficult. Like, no, Prabhupada says that no, people who are conditioned in mode of goodness, so they don't take up Krishna consciousness because they are so happy. No, the problem is they are happy. No, so like, you are, no, material life is miserable. You have to take up Krishna consciousness, and this will say like, no, I'm cool. मेरा कुछ प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है. लग रहा है तुम परेशान है, लेकिन तुम्हारा पास रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं हो रहा है, लाइक, तुम्हारा टारगेट्स मीट नहीं हो रहा है, लाइक, लग रहा है कि तुम परेशान है. हाँ हाँ सर, लाइक, मैं परेशान हूँ. थोड़ा बताइए कैसा पीसफुल लगे. so so once one of my friend in the, like, we took a wrong decision. No, one time all the base devotees, like when I was staying in the base, so we took a wrong decision to go to MG Road to distribute books. And then we were like, no, pura dimag kharab ho gaya tha hamara. So like, and one of my friend, he's a brahmachari now, I'll not reveal his name. So no, he, towards the end of the day, like, he started distributing books like, sir, kuch to le lo sir, subah se kuch nahi hua. So it became so bad that we were washed out. Not much of books distributed. Maybe we didn't know some right techniques to distribute there. So like, we were like completely washed out there. So anyways, so that what I was telling that yeah. So if one maintains material desires, he cannot be happy, and no. The happiness and distress, they varies at different level. So nobody in the material plane can be happy forever. No, a person in mode of goodness, he can be happy, for some extent. So, but this conviction we should have that the time frame that we are seeing, him, like maybe the time frame that he is actually enjoying now. So that time frame will definitely have to come to an end. No, it cannot. No, Prabhupada says like, finally, like how much ever you are settled, death will come and knock you off. No, so like you cannot be happy in any situation for long. So it is not at all possible. So you have to vacate that situation at some point in time. And philosophically speaking, like we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we can only be satisfied, in association with Krishna. Prabhupada gives the example of fish out of water. So fish out of water, it can never be happy. So, but there is gradations of happiness and distress, right? So a person in mode of goodness, definitely he is much better off than other people in the material world who are affected by passion and ignorance. So he will seemingly be in a position of happiness, externally or internally also to some extent at the level of mind and things like that. So he'll have much less no problems of the material world, because he's somehow or other, like some level of gyan has arisen in his system, and some level of detachment from the sense objects is there. Obviously that will trigger some level of happiness also. But then this happiness is not permanent, and this happiness is not our intrinsic happiness, right? So this is like absence of misery. This is not the real happiness that is going to satisfy the soul. Ye atma suprasidati. So this is not of that kind of a happiness where it is it is like so much nourishing and so much actually immersing the soul in the happiness. So it's not of that kind of happiness. So in general, we should understand, as long as one maintains material desire, he cannot be happy. So from the spiritualist point of view, like a material person who is there in mode of goodness, he's also miserable only. Like even like a spiritualist, he says kaivalyam narakayate. a platform of liberation, platform of being in the Brahma Jyoti as platform of being in Brahman as Naraka. So then, what to speak of a person who is there just in some good proportion of mode of goodness in the material world? So he should be like more Naraka. It is like deep, zones of Naraka actually for him. So like a devotee can actually see that he is in Naraka. So but then a person in mode of goodness, he'll feel that he is happy. So he may feel he is happy, but then a devotee feels no, he's not in happy situation, because a devotee is able to experience a higher pleasure. So param drishya nivartate, right? So experience a higher pleasure. So this, whenever this point comes, we should always ask ourselves, am I experiencing the higher pleasure? No, am I like able to practice the Krishna consciousness properly? So am I chanting the rounds properly? Am I doing the reading and hearing in a proper mood? Or am I attending the morning program in a proper mood? So like so much of time, it's like in Prabhupada's time, sadhana means like morning program. So like so much of time is invested, in the sadhana, like every day, right? So even the boys who are staying in the base also, like at least solid 1 hour, to like anybody would give half an hour of Mangalarti and half an hour of class, and then minimum half an hour of chanting, like together, devotees do before they push off for the office and things like that. So 1.5 hours to 2 hours is solidly there, right? So this much of time is spent there. So whether you like it or not, you have to spend. Like no, otherwise base se nikal diya jayega. So whether you like it or not, you have to spend. So now only the thing is like, no, if we can battle out the mind that if I can be conscious, if I can be like focused, if I can try to attach the extra fittings of prayers and gratitude and feeling of humility and like appreciating the Lord's position and feeling grateful about the opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness. So when we attach all these things, so then the whole process of Krishna consciousness, the whole sadhana gets life. So without this, the sadhana becomes lifeless. The sadhana becomes like very mechanical, and then the result is quite meager. So it is like one very important philosophical or one important practical aspect in the practice of sadhana, which actually appealed to me a lot, and then which helped me to try for like little more serious sadhana, is that initially my conception was, if I keep doing chanting, I'll advance one point in time. So then later on I got to know, if I keep doing chanting, it is not sufficient. I have to also like develop the right attitude. So with a mechanical attitude, I'll be able to grow till a particular limit only. So with that same attitude, if I keep giving the input for a long period of time, तो उसका maximum limit है, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं जा सकते. So with mechanical practice of Krishna consciousness, so I have a maximum cap how much I can advance. So after that, I have to put in my intentions, or put in my attitude proper, right? The cultivation of humility and cultivation of appreciation for the Lord, and cultivation of prayers and gratitude, and these elements are very, very essential for me to go to the next level. Otherwise, it is not possible for me to enter into the next level. So I'll continue to be there in the same level, and at every level, there is different aspects are there. So so today morning I was hearing Prabhupada class. It was this one key, like I'm not sure if it is in the Prabhupada class. So the desire for material or desire to achieve something, right? So that is another block, that is there, desire to achieve something. So it is like another thing, like another milestone that a living entity is supposed to cross. So when we have material desires, or to put it in the right, this one, what is the thing that we use? Fruitive desires. So if I do something, I should get no attachment to the results of activities, fruitive desires. So when that is there, so then with that, when I practice Krishna consciousness, I'll be able to go to a certain level only. So then beyond that, I cannot go. So when I give up the attachment for the fruits of actions, so then I can go to little more higher levels of practice of Krishna consciousness. So like that, so every level with the what is it, the prerequisites are there. So or the attachments that we have, which actually sap out the energy of Krishna consciousness. So we have to fix those gaps. If we don't fix those gaps, then the sadhana practice will not give better results. We will just be there the same way. So this misconception I was like having a long time, that that the same thing keep doing again and again, and you will be able to make advancement. But it is not possible. So same thing we have to keep doing, but we have to add the right attitude in the practice of Krishna consciousness. So otherwise, like these statements will look foreign for us, that a person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, so because he's purified and he's getting higher taste, so he's not interested in other things, right? So this will not make much sense to us, like it may remain just a philosophical point, and we will just attribute it to like maybe for advanced devotees and things like that. No, it is not just for advanced devotees. It is at every level we are expected to get some level of taste in the process of Krishna consciousness. Just like at every level, like LKG, UKG, first standard, second standard, at every level the child accumulates some level of knowledge. It is not that only after graduation he gets knowledge. So at every level he gets some level of knowledge. That is essential. Otherwise, our enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness will go. We should see some milestones. So then one becomes fully satisfied. Savai from some parodharma eto bhakti adokshaje, right? So ahaitukiya pratihata ya atma suprasidati. So then Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janati Ashvairagyam Jnanam Cha Yada Haitukam, right? So he becomes Suprasidati, and then he gets Jnana and he gets Vairagya. And Jnana in itself gives so much of happiness, actually. And then Krishna consciousness is the ultimate Jnana, so ultimate knowledge. So whenever there is, in general terms, when Jnana comes in the scriptural this one, so we have the understanding that so knowledge about the spirit, different from the matter. And then in a higher sense, knowledge, we consider knowledge to be like, who is Krishna, who am I, and what is my relationship with Krishna. So I am servant of Krishna. Krishna is my master. So this clarity is also like this clarity is the good level of knowledge. Very very nice level of knowledge. And then Vairagyam is basically like detachment. So both these things, knowledge and Vairagya, it comes in parallel. And both of these things, whenever it manifests, it gives so much of happiness in the heart. So like it is like discovering ourselves. It is coming to our real position. And the living entity by nature is such chit and ananda. So the ananda component is there, like barbar ke hai, like but then the covering of this one that is there, so that is only actually insulating us from actually having this ananda, happiness. So the moment we roll back to our original position, and we experience this jnana and vairagya, so that makes the heart so much blissful. We become so much very happy at heart. And for this, like we have this one of we have to perform devotional service and ahaituki, like without any other motive, exclusively for the purpose of pleasing the Supreme Lord, and then without any stoppage in the practice of Krishna consciousness. So when that is done, then it actually fully thoroughly satisfy the soul. So then the living entity will not look for any other source of happiness whatsoever. So he will that happiness which he was looking for in many lifetimes, and he's looking for in different relationships, and he's looking for in different achievements and things like that. So that happiness is actually there in this point, that like fully engaging the senses in the service of the Lord, and not having any other desire, right? So, and that brings about in the second shloka, Vasudeva Bhagavati, it actually says that whatever else you want, or whatever else may be needed, all that will automatically be provided. So in one place it is someone was saying, like, one who can control his mind, he can actually control the whole world. No, so something like that. Some common lokic statements are there. So and we have the Noaika shloka that vacho veham manaso krodha veham and things like that. So that literally says one who can control his senses and mind, like literally he can rule over the entire world, right? So in this way, like the real control and conquest actually there within. So two ways we can actually control the world. One is like you can go around and conquer everything, and then you can control the world. Another is you can go inside and conquer everything and you can control the world, right? So both the ways it is there, right? So and whatever else a person or the mind may put as an argument, like if you do this, if you go internalize yourself and if you explore yourself within, so then you may lose these external achievements. So this shloka actually gives confidence that Bina, like nirdar, like you can go inside and then you can be sure of all the assets that you are the mind is actually arguing. Like we can give a mind argument to the mind. All the assets that you are thinking that this you may lose, you will get multifold of it. Just be convinced and help me in going within, right? So just help me in trying to explore the Krishna who's within, like deep within us. So it is that's a very, very important this one argument that we need to play around. And these are the instructions given in Srimad Bhagavatam, the supreme Vedic literature, when one may not be able to go to the Pulaha Ashrama. Yeah, for this reason only I wanted this Chaitanya Charitamrita, this one. One may not be able to go to Pulaha Ashrama, but wherever one is, one can happily render devotional service to the Lord by adopting the process mentioned above, right? So somehow or other engaging the senses in the service of the Lord, and having that as an exclusive attention. That is something that Prabhupada actually develops this purport to: exclusive attention to the Supreme Lord and without any stoppage, and rendering devotional service in the other aspects that Prabhupada actually adds with love and devotion. So with love and devotion and exclusive focus upon Krishna and engaging all the senses in service of Krishna, so that can completely satisfy the self, and that can actually relieve us from the material desires, and eventually that can actually relieve us from the distress. So distress is primarily because of material desires. So we don't have time to discuss the other one, so we will open up for discussions and question and answers. Yes, ma'am.
So, a person who is in the mode of kind of little bit sense of happiness is getting in this world. What is the scope for him to come to devotion service? Because if he stays satisfied, then the devotees go and try to bring him to Krishna consciousness. So he's not agree.
So how does a devotee try to preach to somebody? Okay, the question is that a person in mode of goodness, if you can speak a little loud, I don't need to repeat actually. So like this one, a person in mode of goodness, so he is a little bit happy, right? So then what is the scope? Devotees try to go and preach to him, and he may not agree. So what is the scope? So now let's try to understand, like, what is the preaching that we are trying to do? How do we do preaching? By being the instrument, okay. What external activities that we do to do preaching? Exposure to Krishna, right? So exposure to Krishna. So we see that if somebody is not very much ready for the instructions of Krishna consciousness, so that means his Sukriti level is low. His material Sukriti, the material Punya is high, that's why he is there in mode of goodness. But his spiritual Punya is low, spiritual quotient is low. So spiritual Sukriti is low. So that is why he is not able to understand. So then the preaching is that, so like you are a teacher, you are a full stack teacher, okay. So you can teach to LKG student also, you can teach to first standard also, you can teach to sixth standard also, you can teach to graduates also, right? So that is the capacity that you have got, right? So every preacher is supposed to be equipped with this. And if we go and meet a person, and then we say that, see, Krishna consciousness is there, Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have to surrender to him. And if somebody is responding back with, no, I have these material desires, I have to achieve this and things like that and all. So now we understand, okay, uska spiritual Sukriti is not so much. He is not looking for Krishna yet, right? So now we have to give an option something which resonates with this one and with Krishna consciousness, right? So you read Bhagavad Gita every day, and that will ensure that your life is very, very auspicious, right? So people like these things, like my life will become auspicious. So what is the definition of auspicious? So that we will not tell. Like your life will become very auspicious. So आपका material desires चला जाएगा, and you'll become a lover of Krishna and things like that. अरे ये कौन सी angle में auspicious है? So like no, your life will become auspicious. Like you will get the highest happiness in this whole universe, by reading this. Like no suprasidati, that's translation of that. And will I get a job? What about this job? You'll get such a happiness, you cannot even imagine. So he's almost in the verge of realization. And he's so happy. And he's decided like today I'll dance in Jagannath Rath Yatra like anything. Dance in ecstasy, so like that. So we should see that by interaction we understand the place where they are in, what is the level of sukruti that they have got, and to that extent we actually encourage them somehow or other. The whole process is same. Like you meet a person with great sukruti or you meet a person with less sukruti, the process is same. Rishikena Rishikasa Sevanam. Somehow or other we have to engage his mind, his senses in his, this one in the service of the Lord. So how he will get engaged, that we have to see, right? So if we meet a person like who's having a little pious nature to do some social service, we can encourage that person. Now if you can support us, we can do a lot of prasadam distribution. And if you want, like wherever you say, like we will go and distribute. So that's in our agenda. If by taking prasadam, like people can become pious, and there are some people who want to do philanthropic activity. So okay, like just help us do prasadam distribution, right? And then when they get a little bit of sukruti, so then we can say, okay, see, this philanthropic activity is not highest. So then they come to a platform of argument. That is little better sukruti. And then even more better sukruti is they'll come to the platform of acceptance, right? So like that. So we should not think that our preaching is just to convince people. So that is the that's the fruit of the entire preaching. So maybe 100 devotees preach in 100 lifetimes. So the 100th devotee will get the fruit. It's like he'll go and say, Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, you should surrender. Oh yeah, I was looking for this. So that's like fruit of so many lifetimes of preaching actually. So that's why we should keep doing the preaching, keep investing. First standard student है तो like second standard में जाने के लिए inspire करना है, So graduation को expect करेंगे like अरे ये तो waste हो गया मेरा time. So we should not feel dejected by that. So like it doesn't matter. This also gives rise to another important viewpoint. A person in mode of goodness, mode of ignorance, can have a high devotional sukruti. And then वो पिया हुआ आदमी है, like इधर पड़ा हुआ है and things like that and all. You go and tell Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and say, yeah, like it's a nice thing. If he's able to accept, that means materially he is like pathetic, but spiritually he's rich. He's able to accept Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's like really rich. He's the right candidate to be preached upon, right? So maybe he'll struggle to come up to the practices of Krishna consciousness, but philosophically speaking, and in the platform of Sukruti, he is really very high. He can actually, he may have a very, very struggling life in Krishna consciousness, but he may even go back to Godhead. So because of his practice, he may not be able to maintain cleanliness, he may not be able to have good attitude and things like that. And so but then devotionally he is rich, because he's able to accept Krishna's Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's able to accept that I have to engage my senses in the service of the Lord. That means he's good, but he may be struggling with his material modes. So that may be there, So because of bad samskara, he may be struggling. But then spiritually he's well off, And a person in mode of passion, he can be also. So how much of devotional sukruti is there and how much of material sukruti is there? Externally what we see is the material sukruti. And what is invisible is the devotional sukruti that you can only understand when you present the concepts of Krishna consciousness in front of him. And what is the acceptance? like how he is able to accept that. So उससे पता चलेगा कि like उसको devotion सुकृति कितना है, like that. Huh? मृगारी, हाँ मृगारी, मृगारी का ये like devotion सुकृति create किया गया. Like that is like you have to be really powerful preacher. So every day you do intense chanting. किसी को भी पकड़ो लेकिन नारद मुनि का इफेक्ट हो जाएगा फिर. So नारद मुनि का preaching is not like उसके पास कितना है, like कितना भी नहीं, जो भी है नहीं है लेकिन भर दूंगा मैं, like ड्यूटी बना देंगे. That is different class of preacher. Yes, cool.
Even after proper sadhana, your purpose is not clear. When you go outside, you get bewildered. How one can be cautious?
Cautious is like param drushya nivartate, so that is the thing. So we have to invest our this one energy in somehow or other like having a good experience of the practice of Krishna consciousness, good experience of chanting, good experience of like studying Bhagavatam and morning program and things like that. So the good experience will come when we try to be little conscious. So like we see that what is that? My own example, like when I have a little bit of fungal infection, right? So in my feet. So whenever that infection goes low, then I'm careless. I'm not properly applying the medicine and things like that. And whenever the infection becomes little acute and it becomes like little painful and things like that, so then so much of caution is there. Every time I wash my feet, like I usko dry karna hai, like cloth leke, and then I have to put a powder to absorb the moisture and then put this one, and thoda bahut like theek ho gaya, then we become relaxed, right?
Whenever we feel strength, we feel that now we can be relaxed.
So whenever there is pain, so then we apply the process nicely. So that is why Lord is merciful. He keeps giving some. So नहीं तो बंदा सीरियस कभी नहीं होगा. इसको 2 लात मारो लेकिन ठीक रास्ते पे चलेगा. लात मार मार के लेके जा रहे हैं हमको. So it's like merciful nature of the Lord. So then we apply ourselves to the process very nicely. We go to the Lord with intense prayers, and we try to chant with attention and things like that. So then, it is not the difficulty that is actually creating that is actually creating a nice experience of Krishna consciousness. It is somehow or other we are focusing. That is why it is giving so much this one. And what if we focus in a normal time? Bhagwan ka kaam bachega. Like, he will not unnecessarily put us in difficulty. So like, he's nicely focusing on me. Like, it's okay. Like, so like that. So it is very important that somehow or other we should like put our focus on Krishna consciousness. So when we put our focus, even normally also, without not much of devotional attitude and things like that, normally also we just try to focus on the syllables of Hare Krishna mantra, and just that will give so much of this one. If just focusing on a dead matter, a flame can give you satisfaction. Focusing on a transcendental subject like Hare Krishna mantra, so like how can it not work? How can it not work? Sometimes devotees come to this conclusion that this chanting and all is okay, like maybe I have to advance a lot to get the benefit, so let me go and do some Prataka meditation and to calm down my mind. So like why that this one is there? So why not we actually put our focus on the Hare Krishna mantra itself? So like we have a process, we are also follower of a particular process. So why don't we have such such faith and focus on that particular this one, right? So that is a very important thing. Like any practice which is done for quite a good amount of time. So like familiarity breeds the contempt. So we just become too familiar with the process, and then we just become like we have tried out all the possible this ones, chanting with all possible activities. We can do multitasking, along with chanting, anything and everything in the world. Like we can do driving, we can do cooking, we can do anything, any activity you say we can do with chanting, right? So then that also becomes a problem, right? So 16 rounds, beyond 16 rounds, whatever you do, that's a different thing. So but 16 rounds should be really very proper. So if you can invest like that, so then that becomes very nice. And everyday morning program, we are doing. So every day, like, we have to stand in front of the Lord. So why not we apply our focus on the Lord? And if the mind actually brings about, no, today, karna hai, karna hai, and then this project is there, that project is there. So why not we just, like, leave aside all those things, and then, pray to the Lord that please give me a, good focus to focus upon you, and, absorb myself on your thoughts, right? So we should try to struggle on that, this one. So without struggle, it's not going to happen. Without struggle, prayer, and, like, appeal, it's not going to happen. So at least we should try to start our endeavor in that particular direction. So then that gives a lot of peace. Lot of peace, not just peace, like much more. Actually. Yeah. It's 9:38 too, so we will close the session now. In the prasadam time, we can discuss. Antaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.